I will share this, and this is hard for me. The fear that I have is, I apologize, and I've shared this with my wife, but like for all my friends that I've lost to suicide, the hardest part is I understand why. Makes sense. I get it. The room was too much. So I get that. And I'm fearful that that'll be me. So I would rather just be I'm not here 100% asshole than I don't want to be that guy.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is there a cell phone number?
Hello, how are you?
I'm well.
Welcome.
Did I do something wrong?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
Yeah, mine was still left on.
There's a good chance that I did something wrong. Yeah.
Well, one of us did, right?
Yeah.
It's a good chance that we're both guilty.
It's a 50-50.
It's totally
it's 50-50 on if it's me or you.
Uh-huh. Like, who's responsible for this? Probably one of us.
Probably. Math is cool. Did you ever see the movie 20? Is it 21?
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Right?
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Don't say.
Dude, no,
somebody formerly known as Kevin Spacey that we don't talk about. But it's a great movie. I kind of like it.
I only have bad things. I don't know if it could be cut the same for me.
Right.
Yeah.
That guy. We don't like that guy. But
I thought we were not swearing.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm going to try. We can
swear.
I know, but I want to try.
There's a problem with the YouTube. There's not a problem with YouTube algorithm. We love God. It's great. We're big fans of it.
All praise you, YouTube.
Yes, all praise
our
to
Lord
the
and Savior,
YouTube. But apparently, if you swear in the first 10 minutes of said episode or content, then they push you under the water.
Under the water.
Yeah.
They're like, shh.
And they drown you.
Stop breathing. Yeah. Which is harder, especially... I swear a lot.
Yes. I've noticed that about you.
Yeah, I can't, I'm not even sure why. Like I guess my mom swore a lot. My dad swore a little. My dad didn't even swear a lot. My mom swore a lot.
Really?
I'll blame her. Yeah, 100%. Thanks, Mom.
Was it pretty, okay to swear growing up? It wasn't a big deal?
It wasn't. There was definitely it wasn't that it was okay. Like I could never look in if I swore in front of my mom, if it was one of those, like if I stubbed my toe and I went and I said something, I'm not saying it right now. If you said something, it would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it was never like, you can't swear at somebody, right? You can't look.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would have never flown.
That was the distinction.
There was definitely the distinction. And I wasn't allowed, I think, 16, I think I could start swearing a little bit. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then I was in the military.
And then it was no holds barred.
Ooh, God, it was rough. It was so bad. It's an art.
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the opening scene of Full Metal Jacket with all the swearing, and he's just coming up and just saying random stuff. First of all, I'm fairly confident, and my Marine Corps friends can double fact check me on this. I'm fairly confident a lot of that was just ad-libbed. Like Arlie Ermey was just like, oh yeah, he's like, oh, I can do this.
Right.
Yeah, you want me to mess these guys up? And so a lot of that was just ad-libbed, and he just was going off the cuff and doing stuff. And it's hard because that's 100% how that happens.
Yeah.
And then you get good at it, and I have to really stop myself from doing it with the kids. I'm like, because at the end, I looked at, I think I said this once, I was yelling at the kids. I was like, and then communism wins, And then she was like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's what happens when you don't pick up your toys.
That's right, communism wins.
Right? Russia attacks. If you don't pick up your
toys.
The
iron wall is coming down.
It's going to be Red Dawn all over again. Cuba's coming. Yeah, growing up, it wasn't like super, it wasn't like, oh, you can't swear in this house, but we didn't spend a lot of time swearing. I remember the first time I heard one of my brothers say,
oh,
it was after a car accident.
Which is
justifiable.
Yeah, normally.
We were pulling out of a gas station, and it was on Main Street, super slow. It wasn't anything dangerous or scary or anything. It was still a car accident, but we were pulling out, making a left, and then there was somebody that was parked on the far side of the road that was flipping a U-turn. And so as they were doing the U-turn and we were making the left, we all
whammed.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't driving.
Okay.
It was my brother Brian, and he was driving. And as soon as he hit, he was like, and I'm like, so it was twofold. I'm like, we were just in a car accident, and he just said F.
Yeah, no, he said the bad word. Did he say it because he was mad that he got hit, or was he mad that he was going to get in trouble for being in a car accident?
I think it was probably more about just oh shit, we were just in a car accident.
Yeah.
Kind of like instinctual response to it. I grew up with a guy, though, who was very skilled at the art of swears.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He was like a long time swearer.
Oh, I
He was somebody that was definitely swearing in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was good.
I refer to it as for like work, when I'm traveling, if I have to get up and talk in front of people, is I normally use it as kind of an icebreaker for the room. And I kind of introduce myself. Hey, my name's Ben, this and that. I've got a background. Real quick, I just want to address this before we get started. I was like, I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. I was like, and in the Marine Corps, we swear a lot. I was like, and it's kind of become a part of my religion at this point. I'm going to do my best to curb it. So please stick with me. It's not out of disrespect. I'm going to do my best. Let's go. Right. And everybody has a chuckle. Right. Yeah. And it's a nice icebreaker. But then I go through it because it does. And I don't even recognize when it happens sometimes. It just comes out. It's just another word in my brain.
Yeah. Over the years, I've had there's part of me that was stuck in this program for a while where it was like, well, it's, there's nothing wrong with swearing, obviously, but it just really speaks to, if you're intelligent, you should be able to come up with better words. And I'm just like,
I don't care.
Right? Yeah. But that was something that I struggled with for a while.
We've already covered that I'm a big dumb animal.
A few years ago, and I mean, it's been more than a few years ago, but with all of our kids, we we didn't have to worry about it as much as with the girls. Like the girls didn't really, they swore, but it wasn't like, it wasn't a main source of their vocabulary.
Yeah.
And then when our son got to a certain age, it was like we decided to do something completely different and just gave him carte blanche.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, bud. It's just words. It's not that big of a deal. You have to learn how to manage this, right? And he's like, hold on a minute. Are you saying that I can say whatever I want to say?
Whatever I want to say.
And we're like, yeah, it's just words, buddy. It's not a big deal. And then so suddenly he's like, are you sure? And we're like, yeah, it's going to be all right. Well, it's, I'm sure there'll be something that every now and then. And it was the worst fucking mistake that we've ever made as parents. We've been paying for it ever since.
We've been paying for it. All I can think about is like, and this is like, if I looked at my son, I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, you know what? You're 16 now. They're just words. You can say whatever he wants. And he's like, anything I want? I'm like, yeah, man, they're just words. I was like, now listen, like you have to deal with the consequences of the things that you say. I was like, but and he'll be like, all right. And he like just looks at you for a minute. He's like, you. And wham! Like I said, consequences.
Yeah. There's definitely consequences for certain words that you choose to use.
Yeah, you talk some shit, you might get hit. That's just kind of the way that works.
It's too funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think about that all the time where it's like, they're just words.
Yeah.
Just words.
And it's funny how, like here in the U.S., there are certain words, like my beautiful, wonderful, sophisticated wife, who spent time in Scotland and in Europe and stuff like that, they use swear words differently.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And for her, she's like, that means I can do this. And I'm like, she has made friends of mine Marines. Like just, whoa, what are we going with this? JB's just over here, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
So it's, I like swear words. I like when you can be creative with swear words.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's super fun.
We probably should get off the subject.
Yeah, we should.
Because YouTube has officially drowned us. We're done.
Oh.
There's too many in the first time.
Maybe we can take this and put this after 10 minutes.
There you go.
We'll have a 10-minute conversation about something that's not swearing. And then we'll put this here.
Have you ever seen the movie Memento?
Yes.
It's a Christopher Nolan one.
Yeah.
got Guy Pearce, right?
Yep.
That's what that just reminded me of, where it's like, we're going to cut to the middle of and then start this at the beginning, and then somewhere it's going to come back, and then there's a tattoo, and you got to figure it all out, what this episode was about.
I think there are some really cool movies like that. I mean, obviously the first one that comes to mind is Pulp Fiction. Right, which is just a classic. And I saw somebody did something where they tried to put it in order, all the different storylines, and the only
for
way
Memento
for Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
So they said like, all right, we're gonna follow this character in through order, but like it pulls scenes from other areas, and you're like, oh yeah, like when Bruce Willis and John Travolta, when John Travolta's going to the bathroom and Bruce Willis walks in on him. So like it ends with that, I think. Right. And it's just all these different like areas. And it was like, oh, yeah, I can't believe all that stuff happened.
Such a good movie.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't Quentin's first, but.
No.
I think Reservoir Dogs was his first.
You know
Are you
what?
a big Quentin Tarantino
Oh,
guy?
I am. And I'll tell you what, Reservoir Dogs, when I was younger, I loved it. Loved all the Quentin movies, everything that he watched or he did, I wanted to watch. I still like all the new stuff. I think is great too.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen that one yet. I know we talked about it. I still have to watch it. I want to.
I'm sorry, guys.
I know.
I don't know. Like somehow we're gonna get through this, and we're just gonna have to pretend like he's seen it, and we still love him, and we don't get to pick our friends. Sometimes you just have to deal with what you get. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I watched. We were going. Well, I think I was deployed. I was going through a big Quentin, phase, and I was like, yeah, Reservoir Dogs, and we didn't have a copy of it. And I was like, we got to get a copy of this. So I think I actually ordered like the DVD or something, and where it comes through Amazon like 30 days later, and I put it in, and I was like, yeah, and I watched it, and I was like, this sucks. Because you're so used to all the plot lines, and as soon as you know what happens, the whole movie's different, I think. And so I rewatched that one, and I was like, man, I did not enjoy that at all, and it really ruined what I had in my brain of like, this is Reservoir Dogs, and it was like, oh. But
what you just described of like when you rewatch a movie, all the plot point, that's part of the joy of rewatching a movie.
Well, it didn't spark joy to rewatch Reservoir Dogs 10 years later. Everything else that I've watched, Pulp Fiction, Dusk Till Dawn, Desperado. I mean, I don't know if that's a Quentin movie.
That's Robert Rodriguez.
It is. Yeah, well, and they do a lot of stuff together.
They do, yeah.
But I'm trying to think what else was a Quentin one. What was another Quentin movie?
We got Kill Bills.
Oh yeah, those are good.
We've got
Wiggle
Hateful
your
Eight.
Big toe. Hateful Eight. I really liked Hateful Eight.
Inglorious Bastards.
Oh, another. That's I got a nickname from that one.
Yeah, that one is so good. What's the nickname for that one?
Bear Jew.
Bear Jew.
Yeah, that was literally my friends, and I've got a bunch of friends in California that call me that, and they're like, "Yeah,
that's a perfect nickname."
It really.
Right?
The only downside to that nickname is I don't look like that guy, Donnie Walk or Walkowitz or Willowicz or Walkowicz Skuska. Wachowski. Mike Wachowski. Yeah, but I don't look like that guy. But otherwise, yeah.
What are you watching right now? Do you have time even to sit and watch series and things like that?
I do try to watch a couple things. It's really, I don't have a ton of time. It's normally at night. I don't get to watch anything during the day, in the morning or afternoon. It's normally after everybody's gone to bed.
Waking up and binging a Netflix show. Well, it's 8 o'clock. I think I got to turn on the old Netflix.
Yeah, no, 8 o'clock. I've already been up for 4 hours. So I'm watching Bad Monkey on Apple.
Okay.
It's got Vince Vaughn in it, and I love him.
Is it so good?
It's pretty good.
I can't decide if we need to get Apple.
So there's a couple shows on Apple that I think are just great. I also we don't have cable, but we pay for every other streaming service.
Right.
We have the litany. When I see those ads on YouTube or whatever for are you overpaying for subscriptions? I'm like, stop talking to me, because I probably am, right? At one point we had 2 Paramount Plus accounts, right? So Tulsa King On Paramount Plus, I'm enjoying that. Bad Monkey. There's another one, and I think this is maybe Jamie and I find some shows where I go, this is a show. Was Shrinking, and that's got.
Is that on Apple as well?
It's on Apple. It's got. He was in How I Met Your Mother. Jason. There's a Jason
Segel.
Segel, yeah, big tall, yeah. Jason Segel, Harrison Ford, right, and a couple other and he's a psychiatrist who's going through a breakdown.
Jason
is.
Okay.
His wife passed away, and he's super depressed about it. But it starts. The opening scene is the best. It starts with the neighbor wakes up, and it's 3:00 in the morning. And it's loud, and there's a party going on, and he's like, "What's it?" She's like, "What's it?" And she comes downstairs, and she's like, "Oh," and she's upset, and she goes to the fence, and she's like, I can't remember his character's name, Bill. It's not Bill, and he comes over and he's like, "Are we being too loud?" And there's two hookers getting in his pool. He's like, "We've got cocaine," right? And she's like, "No, go to bed." And he's like, "Maybe just a little bit of cocaine?" And she's like, "No, you're a father." And he's like, "Fine." It's a really funny, how he's dealing with his wife's passing and just his relationships. It's a really funny show. And it does something that I think very few shows do. It creates an uncomfortable moment, and then it makes you sit in it for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's there's some uncomfortable things going on, and you're waiting for the cut.
And they just leave it.
And they leave it for 10, 15 seconds. You're I don't know how I feel about all this.
Yeah.
So I like that. What are you watching?
Right now right now I'm obsessed with Penguin. The HBO on Max.
And that's
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
In hands down some of the most incredible makeup that I've seen.
Yeah.
Because we're obsessed with it, and by we I mean Steph and I. It's one of those that we're watching together. I'm just I can't get enough of it.
Is it the makeup that does it for you?
It's not the because it literally doesn't look like Colin Farrell.
It doesn't.
Every time they change the camera, or there's a new angle, or you're getting a new shot or something like that, I'm like, where is he? I'm trying to see him somewhere in there, and there's nothing. He does so freaking good at it. And it was the very first episode that we watched, Stephanie was like, "Oh, this is like The Sopranos. He's just like Tony Soprano." And I then couldn't get it out of my mind.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, this is the greatest sequel to The Sopranos.
The Gotham version of The Sopranos.
It's totally what it is.
Really?
It's so good. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to check this out.
It's really, really fun.
And is that on Max?
That's on Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to
That
check.
one I'm loving. When we watch we did Narcos recently, earlier this year or something like that. Did you ever end up watching that one?
I didn't watch Narcos.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And what happens is when we start binging something, then I tend to start to embody that character. And so when we watch Narcos, because in Narcos, it's the Colombian cocaine, it's Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
And that actor did such a good job. And so it was my Pablo got really, really good. And he's an ass. It's not Pablo Escobar, he's such a loving, kind father. And said, no, he's a megalomaniac.
Yeah.
And when we would watch it, and I would start getting my Pablo on, I'm just I can't do it now. It's the type of thing where I'm terrible at impersonations unless it's live action and I'm watching it, and then I can embody it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting my Penguin on.
Gotcha.
And,
do you walk around
I've totally got the walk. Yeah, because Colin does such a good job with it. It's the coolest. Did you watch the other Batman?
I did.
The one with that this is a spinoff from?
What was that guy's? The Twilight guy.
Yeah.
Edward.
Yeah. Edward the vampire was
it was
in
such a weird thing to see Batman sparkly.
It was very strange.
Yeah. I saw that.
Okay. So the character Penguin in that, right?
Yep.
So you kind of have a little bit of a
understanding.
The arc that they're giving this guy.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. You literally fall in love with him. It's very much like Soprano, like Tony Soprano, where you're we love this main character. And he's a horrible human. I mean, he's a terrible guy. And then the very next scene, you're like, oh, God, we just love him. God, I hope he wins. I hope he comes out clean. He just murdered everybty. I just love this guy so much.
He just schwacked an entire floor of people. But, man, I hope he gets away with it.
Yeah, that we're watching. I watched Old Man. That one I think is on Hulu. Oh no, it's not on Hulu. I mean, I watch it on Hulu, but I think it's on FX. It's the one
I haven't
with,
seen that, but it's on
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, it's on my list. I like Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, I do too.
Jeff Bridges and Jeff Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I like both those guys. I think they're phenomenal.
Did you watch Network? Not Network. That's old school. It was what was it called? Newsroom.
I watched a couple episodes of it. Yeah.
That one was really good.
I liked
Daniels.
Yeah, there's a whole like time frame of, so like I've never watched all of The Sopranos, The Wire, that whole kind of time frame from like 2005 to 2011, 12. I didn't catch a lot of shows because I was overseas. I was in boot camp training stuff.
You know, we all have excuses.
Yeah.
Right? Some of us still manage to live life and get shit done and watch TV. I don't know what your fucking excuses
are. I'm sorry. That, missing Christmases, I'm really sorry, you know.
I couldn't watch fucking Netflix.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed The Wire. Was that a good show?
So
it was really good, by the way.
I believe that.
You need to go back and watch The Wire.
I know. But then it's one of those things where you have to get so invested in it. I went back and watched, because everybody kept talking about Breaking Bad.
Did you not watch?
No, I watched it, so I've seen Breaking Bad. But it was...
Seriously, team, we almost had to fucking pull the pin on all of this shit. Like, it was bad enough that we had to pretend that he hasn't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but had it been Breaking Bad, I don't think we would have been able to continue.
Yes.
That series was incredible.
It's super incredible.
Yeah, we didn't watch it when it came out. We missed the big first initial push of it all. Because I think I was in boot camp or something.
Oh, okay.
But,
excuses and assholes.
When it came, then finally we were like, maybe we should sit down and watch this. And immediately we were like, well, we're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
This is our new life.
That was Dexter.
That was another good one.
So I super lucked out. I think Dexter, like season 5 was out, and they're like, oh, you got to watch this. And they kind of like explained it to me. And I was like, all right, so I got to binge like all of Dexter, all the way up to like season 5 or, wherever it got to.
Wherever he left off.
Yeah, I'm totally just waiting for like.
I know we were on the edge of our seat to see if Craig
I'm like,
can open his coffee without fucking spilling it everywhere.
Look at that.
It was funny going through, like, because we've had a handful of episodes, come out now and going back.
Penguin.
Yeah, of Penguin. No, of this podcast.
Oh, this podcast. Yeah, I thought we were talking about Penguin.
We have only had 4 episodes of Penguin out. We watched the 4th one yesterday, and
so Penguin and Bravemendare.
Pretty much same.
Yeah,
same trajectory.
Yeah,
very similar storylines.
Yeah,
but
love them. Terrible people, but love them.
Love to hate them. What was I saying? Oh, in the beginning when we first started this podcast long ago, I was like, I'm done drinking coffee.
Yeah.
And we're like 5 episodes in, and I've got 2 fucking...
You were like, no, we're going to... And now, listen, you've had some stuff happen.
Yeah.
Right? You've had some...
Life's been hard.
Life's thrown some curveballs at you, right? And I understand, right? Where you were like, yeah, I think we're going to get rid of this, and I think we're going to switch to like a decaf. And I was like, that's cool, man. You ride that train all by yourself.
Yeah, it lasted a week.
Listen, you did it.
It just is what it is.
You went a week without caffeine.
Weak coffee.
If it makes
you very weak
is
coffee.
It?
Yeah.
Well, it's good that I mixed it with my very strong coffee, so I've got regular coffee.
Yeah.
I think I'm on day 5. I don't think I've had a Monster in like 4 days.
Really?
Maybe 3.
Well, you're doing the 75 hard, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. I wanted to get into it a little bit because I'm very interested. We talked about it a little bit this weekend when we were hanging out, but I'm very interested I'm so sorry. Because I want to go into the process of like your brain and thinking. You're like, because like you said, it's a terrible fucking time for it, right?
It's an absolute.
It's the dumbest time.
If you were to like, if you could pick the worst time to do it right now, is literally the worst time to do it. I think.
Didn't you say it wraps up the day after Christmas?
The day after. The only thing that you could have done really to make it worse is if I would have waited like 5 or 6 more days, it would have included New Year's.
Oh,
right. Yeah. And so it's Halloween. So, for those who, if you've never heard of 75 Hard, first take the rock that you're living. It's
just straight, like hard sex for 75 days. To really commit yourself.
What?
You're going to get sore.
I didn't catch that part of the program, but I'm excited.
Sorry. I saw a different video online. We must be watching different things.
Well, I don't even want to get into
What's your 75 hard about?
Which is funny because my friends in California, when we started trying some of this stuff, they were like, "Oh, 75 hard on? Yeah, is that what we're gonna do? 75 hard on?" And then because then it was 75 soft.
You have to snort 4 lines of Viagra every morning for 75 days.
It's the most expensive challenge I've ever done.
But it's worth it.
Yeah, I got to deal with hymns. Hey, if you want to sponsor.
So explain to the people.
So for the people, 75 hard. So it's 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. One of them has to be outside, and it has to be a specific workout. You can't just say, I'm going to go do yard work for 45 minutes. That doesn't count. It's got to be an act like, hey, I'm going to work out. No alcohol for 75 days, no cheat meals, so no sweets, no candies, no sugar. When I hear no cheat meals, like don't have a cupcake, don't have a candy bar, I'm not eating bags of chips, right? You got to pick a diet, stick to it. So I'm doing mostly a meat, cheese, or meats, fruits, vegetables, rice for carbs with, I allow myself bread in the morning, right? Just so I can get those carbs in, especially because I work out in the morning, my first workout. You have to read 10 pages in a non-fiction book. So something like Extreme Ownership, something it's supposed to be more around like entrepreneurial. I'm reading books about like leading sales teams, stuff like that for work. You have to take a selfie every day.
Okay.
Right. So a progress photo.
You need to start. You shouldn't say, I'm not saying you need to, but you should upload those selfies to our stories every day.
I don't know if that's needed.
Content.
I don't think people need to see me with no shirt on and just standing in my bathroom.
It's 75 hard.
Yeah. Somebody's getting hard.
What else is on the list?
So it's the 2 workouts, no alcohol, no cheat meals. And you got to drink a gallon of water a day. So this is 26 ounces, and I'm just rounding. So this is number 2.
So do you have to like do the math with it? Every time I've tried to track how much water I drink, it's a nightmare.
So it sucks because last night I got to it was like 8:30 at night, and I was like, all right, was that 4 or 5? Because I have to drink 5 of them, and I was like,
I would never be able to remember.
Shit, and I was like, I guess we'll just drink one more, and it's so it's good. It's good it keeps you hydrated, right? I also I don't drink. I cut out, so a few things, I cut out sweet tea. I love sweet tea. Even though some would call me a Yankee, I still love sweet tea. So I cut out sweet tea, no sodas, and I haven't intentionally cut out Monsters. It's just hasn't worked into, I'm busy slamming water all day, and I'm like, I just don't have time for this. So, but I'm still drinking caffeine, and I think I'm on day 5. Now, this will be my 5th time doing it.
Through the hard?
No, well, I've gone through it once. The first time I got to it, we did it. I got to day 36, and my best friend Bobby died back in 2021. Okay. And I literally went day 36, and I woke up the next day to his wife calling me hey, Bobby died. I was like, I'm on my way. And I'm not going to, I had to drive 8 hours up to Michigan. I'm not going to not have a drink with her. Right. I was like, yep, well, that's out the window. So I tried it again, 2 weeks later, and I got to day 5, and I was like, this sucks. I don't want to do it. I'm super depressed still and all that. I think I tried one more time and got to day 20, and I stopped. I think I took a year off of even trying. And then finally my wife and I were like, we're going to do this together. I was like, sweet. And we got all the way through it last year. So we did the whole thing. It was good. It's fun to do and just kind of complete it. I do better with the structure.
When it comes to working out and stuff like that?
To hey, this is I'm not good with hey, just make a small change. Just, drink half a gallon of water a day. Every day, right? No. I've got to be I'm either in the deep end trying to kill myself, or I don't want to play. Like I don't know how to not go big, right? It's just
What do you think is the underlying impetus for this time?
that's a really big word that I don't quite understand.
What is the underlying reason? Like what was driving your decision here?
To do 75 hard?
Yeah.
To
fuck 75 days.
just that's a terrible soundbite.
Oh, there's gonna be a clip.
There's gonna be some good ones. You know, I was just I was snacking a lot at night, and my weight kind of slowly crept up a little bit. I know that like you don't weigh yourself too much. I am
Never?
just ever. Yeah.
We just want to pause real quick and thank you for tuning in and listening to Brave Men Dare. We'd like to ask you to do 3 simple things for us. First and foremost, just subscribe wherever you're listening, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of the other places you can find podcasts. By subscribing, you're going to help the podcast reach more people. Also, feel free to rate the show. Give us 5 stars if you're enjoying it. And last but not least, send an episode to a friend. All of these things are going to help the podcast reach more people and help us continue to bring you episodes week after week. Be sure to come follow us on social media as well. You can find us everywhere by searching Brave Men Dare. Now let's get back to the episode. By too much, you mean never?
Never. Mm-hmm. Which is a variation of not too much, right? The last time, whatever. But my weight had kind of crept up. And to be honest, mentally, I am better when I am in a stricter routine. So when I say to myself, like, no, I have to, like this morning, 2 guys met at my house at 5:30. We lifted weights for an hour. And then I was like, cool, had breakfast.
It's so hard for me. You're like, this morning, 2 guys.
These 2 guys.
Just random guys.
Started my morning with 2 dudes.
You know how it goes.
Getting heavy.
When you're doing 75 hard, you know how it goes. You just got to swipe right and hope for the best. Whoever shows up.
Somebody's getting it.
But I'm curious because if we pick it apart a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I've gotten to similar points in life where you're like, something's got to fucking change. Like life is, I can't fucking, everything doesn't fit anymore. I'm trying to get off the couch and it's just suddenly life becomes unbearable because I'm too big. I can't think clearly. Like it's very much, when you're growing up, when you're younger. You've no fucking awareness of like what sugar does to your body, right? Your fucking metabolism is just pumping through everything, so you're totally fine. And then at a certain stage in life,
I think there's actually multiple stages. I think when you hit 30,
that's a big one.
You kind of go like, oh,
body's a little different.
I feel that a little more. Like the hangover hits a little harder. The cupcake jiggles a little longer, right? And then you hit 40, and you're like.
Well, that was my question because 40 was earlier this year for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that had a factor?
I don't
a thing.
I don't think so. I really, for me, it is more of like the mental like space of I've been super busy with work. And when I don't have other things to pull me on that, like my cross cart project that I've been working on, I haven't touched that in months. And I hate that. I haven't really practiced any of like some of my other hobbies in some time because I've really kind of let work just kind of like take over a little bit. And I know that if I say I'm going to start doing these things, when I start to put mental effort towards I haven't picked up a book really. Like I carry some books with me when I'm traveling.
You got to look the part.
Yeah. Right. You got to look like you know what a book is.
You got to look like a traveler.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you read? I read.
I read. Oh, we're readers.
Yeah.
You must be
we're traveling.
Yeah,
we read.
Good. That's what we do. We sit here in my lounge and read my book. But I just didn't really I wasn't grabbing my book to pick it up and like I had been in the past. I wasn't really focused on working out too much. I wasn't really paying attention to my diet. I honestly probably was only maybe drinking 1 of these a day in water. Like it was probably, and I was killing the rest of it with caffeine, and coffee and sweet tea and other things. Yeah. And vodka. So I really was like, I know that 75 hard is a good framework for me to attach to myself. Now, the guy who came up with it, Andy something or another, he's got a podcast. He's super like, rah, and he's gotten really far with some things. There are some things that people are like, oh, you can't do that. Like originally the program came out and then this happened and then this changed a little bit, right? So like one of the things is you're supposed to wait 4 hours between, I think it's like 3 or 4 hours between workouts. I don't always have time for that. So it just doesn't fit into my day. And so if I wake up and I go train, if I go do jujitsu in the morning from 5:30 to 6:30, I come home, I get my kids, I help my wife get the kids off, we hang out for a minute, and then I go walk at 8:30. Like, I don't care, right? There's small things with that, that I don't give a shit, right? So, yeah. But it's
going to be fun to watch.
It'll be fun.
Like, I'm excited for it. I like genuinely had to check in with myself because normally the big impetus, not the big impetus. I'm just going to keep using big words that
I think you really did. You watch was impetus used in Penguin?
It was,
and are you starting to embody your impotence?
It's his tagline right before he kills somebody. Impetus.
Impotent. I'm going to try and use it in my workday today. I'm going to be in some meeting and just be like impotence.
But when you brought it, like when you know, I learned that you were doing it, I was like, oh, I need to do it. I should do it. Because it's the same old thing where it's like if your buddy's doing it, you're like, I probably need to get off my ass and fucking do something. And I had to like genuinely be like, I don't know. Do I really want to do? I've never done it.
Yeah.
It's not something that, I've ever even considered doing. It's just not my preferred way of living. I'm not interested in
suffering a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm totally I'm fine with, the suffer of it all. I'm at a stage in life where I'm just not interested in pushing myself in that way. Yeah. It doesn't really serve me, I think.
I get that.
I don't know.
And I don't think like it's I didn't ask anybody else to do it. Like Jamie's kind of doing it with me. She's doing 75 soft,
right?
Which is not the 70. It's kind of the inverse of 75 hard. You're there, but you're not like,
75 soft is just like foreplay.
Yeah.
It's like when you're trying, but it's definitely not the 75 hard.
So, and to the point, like it is hard. I've asked other people to do it with me before and they're like, oh no. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, it's just a very clear cut. Like, this is just what we're doing. And it's like, yeah, so I have to go through Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Halloween. We have a work trip, which is like we're going up to like British Columbia. There's going to be great food, drinks, all this stuff. I'm not going to be able to do that or drink anything there. We've got Thanksgiving, and then the day after Christmas is over, and Nora's birthday, which is a big drinking holiday for me. My daughter's birthday.
Right.
I do a lot of drinking on that day. Just like
bartender.
Well, I like to share with her. We have a couple cocktails.
Right.
Everybody drinks with their 6-year-old. Well, she'll be 7. It's a big deal, right? We want to really spice that up. I think it'll be fun to go through and do. I mean, I say fun. It won't be fun. It's going to suck. Like yesterday, I walked with my vest on.
Oh, the weight vest?
Oh, yeah. So like in perpetuity, however this all works out in the Ethernet. That's not a word.
That's not what it's called either.
No.
But we get it.
Yeah, in the internet. Somebody stole my internet.
In perpetuity.
Just trying to use a big word.
Look, if there's one thing this podcast is going to be known for, I don't think it's our vocabulary.
It's not our vocabulary, yeah.
No.
Are we past 10 minutes yet? Can I fuck you? So it's like I did the recording the other day on my walk, right? So that's really what I normally do for my outdoor work is I just walk our driveway. Our driveway is a half-mile long. It's got 300 foot of elevation gain. It sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
It sucks to drive up.
It sucks to drive up.
Yeah.
And I walk up that. If it's me and Jamie, we normally do 3 laps. If it's me by myself, I do 4, right? Jamie's just not the same. We don't have the same speed of walk, right? I'm used to there's actually a forced march speed that you use in the military. Do not fact check me on this because I could totally be wrong. I believe, from what I remember from reading in a manual, it's the speed of 1 kilometer every 10 minutes. And the goal is you walk 5 kilometers and then you take a 10-minute break, right? So like when you're moving divisions of people, hundreds and hundreds of Marines. They walk at a 10-minute kilometer pace with all their stuff on. So you're stepping it out, and they do that. And then every 15 minutes, they take a 10-minute break for water. Okay, cool. Keep going. That's forced march speed. So that's what I walk. I don't know why. It's just the speed that I normally walk at. So I walked that, and yesterday I put my vest on. I was like, I'm going to do this with a vest. I was like, I've been walking my driveway now for 4 days in a row. Let's make it harder. Let's put a 20-pound weighted vest on and see what happens. And I didn't have it in me to record anything because I was I stopped. Like, I'm like halfway up the hill. I'm like, oh, God. Oh.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it sucked. It actually took me, if I do it without a vest, I can do 4 laps in like 43, 44 minutes, right? So it's like 10.5-minute laps. And I did it with a vest. It took me like 48 minutes. And I was like, this sucks.
That's fucking still good, dude.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
It hurt.
How much is the vest?
It's so I think the vest, they're 2 10-pound plates, and then the vest weighs like 2 pounds. It's like a 5'11".
Okay.
Like
chest rig. Yeah.
Chest, yeah. It's we've just got like in that setup is just what do you call it? They're just weights. They're like meant for that, but they're just weights. They're not like actual body armor.
Yeah.
Not like ceramic plates that I'm worried about dropping or anything like that.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the results.
Really? I have some, like, I don't want to say that I'm using it as a weight loss tool.
But that's definitely going through your brain, right?
It's going to happen. I would like to, if I could lose 20 pounds, that'd be sweet. I feel feisty.
Yeah.
At like 235.
I was dropping weight with pickleball. Like in the beginning when we started playing that, I was down like 15 pounds.
Well, how do you know?
Because I can tell.
Well,
you can tell. You can tell when you fucking lose weight.
But maybe it was 20 pounds.
Could have been.
It could have only been 5, and you were just excited.
No, it was definitely 10. At least 10.
At least 10?
On my way to 15.
Do you use like pants as the guide?
Listen, fucker. Like, you've been alive long enough to know when you fucking have lost weight. You can tell. You don't need the third fucking interrogation.
Hey there. Look who's looking bigger.
Suddenly everything feels a lot better.
Well, I'm asking because I have big boy pants. I have like in shape pants, and then I've got like lean pants.
Yeah, I tried to get rid of all of my fat guy clothes a while ago. Like when we moved to Tennessee, we did this massive purge. And it was like, okay, I don't know why I'm holding on to those pants anymore. Nobody's going to be fitting into those pants anytime soon, like ever again. So I can probably get rid of those pants.
Those were too big for you?
No, too small.
Too small.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you got rid of your fat guy clothes.
And then I've got those. I'm like, if I ever get back to that size,
we have a problem.
I'm not going to be going out in pants. Like, I don't need to worry about looking good in these ones anymore because it's just going to be, sweatpants from that point forward. Don't look down at the sweatpants. It's cold this morning.
Just totally
I haven't given up on life yet.
And I'm just trying to be supportive. No, I mean, I put pants on. It's cold. I'm a little upset. So these are my new pants.
Yeah.
I just got these from Origin. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, please let me know. bravemendare@gmail.com. They're great. I like these. These are their Moab, mother of all breeches pants. And I was like, yeah, let me check these out. Because the other nice pants are, the other like canvas kind of like pants, not blue jeans, but I wore them in my garage too much. And they're all ruined now. So I bought these.
Have you ever gotten any stuff from a Duluth trading company?
I had some. I wear weird, like clothes fit me weird. Because I've got, like, my thighs are real big. Got real thick legs. Even these, so this is a problem. I can't pull them up over my calf. Right? Like they just
it's not happening.
Oh fuck. I'm not gonna put them down. So my calves are too big. My thighs are real thick. And I'm thick. So Duluth has got some stuff. I've worn some of their stuff. It's okay. I like their underwear.
Yeah. Are you a Carhartt guy?
Nope. I don't like Carhartts either. Their thighs are too thin. there's like a Levi, like 5. I can't remember what they are, like 539. There's some like cut of Levi's that I can wear that fit well. And then I got some pants by Vertex.
I think I have some Vertex.
Yeah. I got a couple pairs of pants from Vertex I really like. Those are more like a tactical kind of like shooter pant. Like they have magazine pockets.
Right.
And I was like, well, these are cool.
Yeah.
I've only ever put a magazine in them once. You know, like I don't walk around with AR magazines on a regular basis.
I have 2 pairs of those.
Yeah.
A black one and a pair of tan ones that are from my cop days back in the day.
Yeah.
That I've held on to because they're fucking cool pants.
They're super cool pants.
And it's like...
They get a lot of pockets.
Yeah. I love the pockets, right?
Yeah, but not like cargo pockets.
Yeah.
Because nobody's gotten a hand job in cargo pants.
Usable pockets.
Yeah.
Functional pockets.
Functional pockets. Well, yeah. They've got great little pockets.
Yeah.
Hidden pockets.
Can't fit into them yet.
No?
Nope.
You could do some 75 soft.
I could do some 75 soft. It's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Is it?
I'm on 120 soft right now.
120 soft.
It's going really well.
So you got to find the pants that fit. I like the Vertex stuff. These feel great. I did order them a hair long, but not a big deal. Yeah. I'll just drag them until I wear through them or something. And but yeah, so I have I threw away all my big boy pants. All the pants that I was like, if these pants get tight, we have a problem.
Yeah.
And then, so I threw away everything that was bigger than that. And I kind of fluctuate between 2 sizes, like 36, 38 is kind of my area. I got thick hips.
Usually mine is 38, 40.
Okay.
That's usually, and if I can get down, there was a time when I was like 34 and really enjoying life at that state.
Yeah. The last time I did 75 hard, I got down to like, I put some 34s on and I was like, okay.
Right.
Okay. And then I had a cupcake and it went away.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well.
Yeah. Right now I'm at, I think my jeans that I've got this year are 38s. And I was happy with that.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at a 38, 36, I'm fine there.
Yeah.
It's a good size.
I'll let you want to try my pants on.
What's the length?
These are 38, 32s.
Oh, so that's totally going to fit.
Totally going to fit?
Yeah.
You should totally try my pants.
We should swap pants
right now. Listen, I like sweatpants.
These are my woolly pants.
Your
These
woolly
are so
pants?
freaking cozy.
Can I touch them?
Yeah, that's the merino wool.
Oh, yeah. Those are super soft. Here, let me just rub on this. And that's really nice. You got big calves, too.
I do have big calves.
Yeah.
I got big thighs, big calves.
Big thighs. Thick thighs save lives.
We've got to come up with something to fucking talk about in this moment. Yeah. This episode. Let's get a little out of control.
I was thinking of something, actually, and I've lost it, but it was good.
Oh, I'm so glad. It was good. That was my favorite part.
Yeah. That was, working out, fitness.
This weekend we had brunch.
We did.
Over at your place, which was really wonderful and nice. And I felt... because I brought up perimenopause.
You did.
And I don't know how wise that was. It felt like in the moment I was like, this is going to be a good idea. And then immediately I was like, that was a bad idea. That was a terrible idea. Right. But I'm curious because you're 40, I'm 43. And
is that a question?
I'm interested in understanding what your experience has been because there's this midlife crisis thing that happens. And I think everybody goes through it. I don't think it's like whether or not you're going to. I think it's a natural thing that happens. It's kind of like puberty. Yeah. Where everybody goes through it. It's just part of life. It's part of the process.
We all smell a little funny.
Right. And I think that it happens around 40 to 45 is kind of the range that it takes place in. Maybe some, 38 it can be as early as 38, right? We're not talking about perimenopause anymore.
We're just talking about midlife crisis.
Yeah, midlife crisis. And I'm curious if you have caught wind of anything, if there's any part of you that you have like...
Midlife crisis?
Yeah, started to question, or if those thoughts have popped into your head that maybe this, I might be going through something a little bit, might be experiencing what might start to be classified as some sort of midlife crisis. And this ties into perimenopause. We're
transition.
Yeah, we're
segue.
foreshadowing.
I I don't know. I can tell you this. I know that I've seen like the memes or whatever. Like at a certain age, you either get into like you really deep into like old like war history, or you smoke meats.
So which one are you?
So I smoke meat.
You smoke the meats?
Yeah, I smoke the meats.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Goes right along with my 75 hard. So I do. I got a smoker like 4 years ago, and it's one of my favorite things to do. Now, at the same time, I love, like you guys came over for brunch, I love making food for people. It hits all the little sparks, joys of my life. I like cooking for people. I like when people look at me like, wow, that was really good. Like, you could lie. I don't care, right? Like, but it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a big act of love.
Big act of love, yeah. I like cooking for people. But my grandfather, who I grew up, I spent a lot of time with, my mom's dad, he used to say that midlife starts 5 minutes after they cover you up.
Okay.
And because he was, he's a 70-year-old guy riding Harleys, just doing whatever the hell. He's like, I don't give a shit, right? His midlife crisis was probably doing whatever the fuck he wanted, riding Harleys and all that. But,
for sure.
I guess I think about like, what would be the stereotypical thing that you do in your midlife crisis? Normally, like you buy a sports car, right? Or I don't know.
Yeah, all of those things.
We said one. What is all those things?
That huge list of stuff that normally happens at this phase of life,
there are
right?
definitely things.
Well, because for me, it was, I feel like it started happening around 40. It wasn't, there's not like an exact thing. It's not an exact science. And what, you're like, really? Because
I feel like it's a science. Yeah. Midlife. I mean, if you start your midlife crisis, does that mean that you're halfway over?
I don't think so at all.
No, okay.
No, that's the whole thing is
I'm putting mine off.
Keep putting it off. For me, what it is it's the recognition of, it's kind of like my life at this point it's not like, let's see if I can totally flesh this out. It's not that my life was going a direction that I didn't want it to go, but at the same time, it's like life wasn't what I expected it to be.
Okay.
And it's this moment where everything starts to kind of bubble up to the surface, and I get the opportunity to address it and look at it and question it. Is this how I want to be spending, the next 40 years? If this is how I want to live my life moving forward? And it's an opportunity to make changes based off of your past and your lived experience. And, around this time of life, I feel like is when you kind of have a real good sense of at least kind of how the game works, right? The systems of humanity and life and everything
civilization.
else, right? Yeah. Like you kind of have
fraud.
it figured out enough to where you're doing life, right?
Yeah.
You're being an adult. And and then the question becomes, is this what I want? Am I actually happy? Is this the life that I actually want to be living? Are these the things that I want to be feeling, the experiences that I want to be having? So then it's like hearkening back to, do you get stuck reminiscing about the way things used to be, which I think enter in the sports car. There's a not big, but there's that whole, that in society, it's, the midlife crisis is a time period where people get divorced and the husband gets a sports car and gets a younger woman, and then the old spinster 45-year-old woman goes off and gets some cats. I'm teasing. That's a joke. But like, it's very much there's a lot of people that I've seen that are in our same age group where they go through divorce and they go through these breakups and these periods of time where
a little bit of moaning. Yeah.
And I think it's because it's that midlife crisis where they're starting to question everything and look around and see, is this the life that I want to be living? Is this the person that I want to be with? And then what do I do about it? And some people, I think, get stuck in the past and, go back to when they think was like the best time in their life. And that might be in their early 20s or
sports car.
Might be fucking, when they were a senior in high school and they're trying to recreate
put on the varsity jacket.
Right. I mean, it's all of those moments where we look back and we think life was easier then or life was better then. So I'm going to try to recreate that in this current moment. And then that's a rabbit hole, like not a rabbit hole, but that's a route that some people go. And then I think there's this other route where you get the opportunity to actually like change and evolve and grow and become the new version of what you actually want to be and kind of go in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like a very, I don't want to say dangerous time, but it's very uneasy. It feels like very fluid. Things feel very, just not grounded.
In flux.
Yeah, for sure. And can you relate to any of this?
So, as you did a much better job explaining things for me, because I'm a big dumb animal. Yeah. So I wear a lot more polos now, right? I made the shift from like work jeans to like more of a Dockers style, like kind of pants. I was like looking at myself at the age of 40 or like 39 or 38. It was like, all right, like what do my dad was, and I say this with love, right? This is like, he was the mechanic, like there's always grease stains on everything, and everywhere we went, like he had a nice pair of jeans, and that was in a nice like polo or something like that. But that was it, right? And is that who I want to be, right? And do I want to be the guy who's always got his motorcycle boots on and his jeans and all that, wearing the t-shirt that says funny things, which I love, but at the same time, it's not what I think I wanted to see for myself. And I think more of a little, I don't know what the right word would be for like the polos, the pants, little, just kind of, I can't think of a good word for that. Any word that comes to mind sounds terrible. So
does it feel like it's more professional, more mature?
Yeah,
more
mature.
adult?
Yeah, more adult, more mature. That's a good way more professional for sure. So like I tend to lean towards that. I look at it's like it's funny. I used to, when I was younger, I would look at Jeeps and be like, oh man, I could put this lift kit in these big tires and all that. Now I understand I have a lifted pickup truck, right? But I don't look at, and I want a lifted pickup truck. That's really going to be my like midlife crisis, is when I get my dream truck.
Okay.
Right, the Mega Raptor. And that'll be my sports car, right? Because I don't really fit. I'm not going to like get a Corvette. Like I think I don't fit well in that. And that Mustangs sit real low. I would drive a Mustang, but I don't think I'd enjoy it.
I'd like to find out. I'd like to drive it for 6 months and see. Maybe I don't.
Maybe I don't.
Do. Let's
try it out.
Hey Ford, if you want to sponsor the podcast.
Don't give me that shitty E-Mach one though. That thing sucks. Anything electric sucks. It's just my opinion.
And you're welcome to have it.
Yeah. But I definitely like did that. I would say like that, and then looking at the idea of like, what do I have like materialistically, and what is it like, are these the things that I want / need, and what are the things that I do want / need, right? And like, how do we make those changes and work on that stuff? I guess I bought a lot of tools. We got a lot of tools.
Okay.
Like tools.
Is there any part of you that is reflecting back and seeing, maybe not some of those material things that are important or, you want to invest in, but more of like, what about your internal world? What about the things that, because we carry stuff with us, right? Our entire life, we're carrying things with us. We're carrying baggage. We're carrying trauma. We're carrying emotions. We're carrying these things. And then at some point we get the opportunity to either look at them or not. And I do think that that's a big chunk of what the midlife is you have to confront all of the baggage, all of the shit, all of the shadow that you've buried and stuffed away for the past 40 plus years or whatever it might be up until that point. Mm-hmm. And some people choose to open up that box and go in and look at those things, because those are the things that have shaped and molded the parts of our lives that we aren't really happy about and happy with, right? So is there any part of that process that might be happening? By the look on your face, I
I'm over here I travel a lot and I lost my fucking luggage. So yeah, I was like, I
don't really have suitcases anymore.
Yeah, just try not to carry that luggage. It's actually because I've shoved it so far deep. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely I mean, part of this is looking at the childhood that I had and just some of the tougher parts of that, I think, like knowing that we didn't have a pot to piss in, like couch surfing as a family for years, going from living in my friend's living room to my aunt's basement to some woman's, I can't remember, this random woman that we knew, like we stayed with her for a long time, to sleeping on my truck, like, and I don't want that to ever be a reality ever again. That sucked. When you look at, when your like dietary choices for the day are, what can I get off the value menu? Because I only have $4.
Yeah.
Right. And when I'm done with this and my 4.99 burritos from Taco Bell, I need to go figure out how to find another $4 or $5 so I can eat again later today. I mean, even the phrase, I got $2.50 on a $5 pizza, like I have said that hundreds of times in my life, because I was like, I don't have $5, but I got $2.50, and let me get half of that $5 pizza, right? Some hot and ready pizza. That's my jam. So I definitely look at where I'm at now, and let's continue to do what we can to make sure that is never a reality for my children, and I never have to go through that again, because I think it also makes me appreciate everything more. It's my mom, I know, and I both say this, when things are like rough, and it's like, all right, well, like, yeah. And we have to like remind ourselves, like, there's a roof over our head. I got clothes on my back. I got food in my belly, and the lights are on. Like, this too shall pass. Like, it's going to be okay. And that's really hard, I think, especially as we get going in our adult lives. I think we get wrapped around the axle on the little things that don't really matter. I can be unhappy with the way things are going in my job. I still have a job, right? That does well. Like we do well as a family. Like, we're not hungry. I don't really think about, like, are we going to have enough to cover the electric bill? And I want to continue to make sure that is the reality that I'm in. So I push really hard on that stuff, but then I start to lose myself, where I will start to, like, my friend Matt Verlack talks about a lot about like work-life balance and all that. And I remember, when you, like, the idea of work-life balance is such a, it's such a, and I hate to think about this, but a privilege. There is so many people, like, work-life balance. Like, no, I have to work so I can have a life, like,
Right.
so I can live.
Yeah, it's survival.
It's survival, and it's the hustle and the grind of 3 and 4 jobs, me, like, working before I was ever 18, before I was ever even had a license, so we could share a family pot on bills, and, working 3 jobs at a time as a teenager, trying to just, like, literally would go from, mowing grasses to working at Subway to working at closing the shop at McDonald's, going to bed at 2:00 in the morning and waking up at 6 a.m. and starting again. And so
that was life as a teenager.
That was life. That was, like, so we could have food, like,
and that money was going towards the family.
Yeah. That was, like, working together to make all that happen. So I think at some point in the last 5 years, I got an opportunity I stepped into a corporate kind of career, and saw what that can provide, and was like, oh, this is going to be my path to make sure that this stuff never, ever happens to my family ever. And let's just work on that. But then I go so far into that that I start to lose. I don't touch my hobbies for months on end. I let my weight get away from me. I stop putting efforts towards my physical well-being, my mental well-being, my growth and stuff like that. I don't drink enough fucking water, you know. I just snort Viagra all day and hope for life.
Just lines of Coke and Viagra.
Yeah.
I hear you talk about all of this, and I'm curious how much, like, do you feel like that's when I say like a frame of mind, or is that something that is in the back of your mind quite regularly, thinking about this is why I work hard so that I don't ever have to go back to the way that it used to be when I was growing up? I'm going to make sure that that never happens again, especially now that I've got my kids and my wife and I'm doing my thing here, right? Is that, when I say, like, again, it's not like a constant, right? It's not like the thing that you write on your mirror and you're like, I got to remember this every day.
Yeah.
But is it also in the subconscious? Is it there quite regularly?
It's a pretty common thing. I definitely will, like, I don't want to say I catch myself not thinking about it, but like I will be going throughout my day. It could be a week, it could be a month, and you know, things are moving, things are going. We're, you know, hey, lots of stuff going on. We got all these different activities and we're busy as a family and all this stuff. And then I start to like kind of let things start to overwhelm me a little bit. And and it starts to like heap on a little bit more and a little bit more. And I start piling. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what's important here? That's what can be. Like if we get lost, if we stop, that's not what we want. Let's reset, reframe, reorganize. This is what's important. Let's keep working on these things. And I think I just bounce back and forth between those, trying to, I mean, it's this whole big like balance, you know, like I am thankful to be in a position that I think about my work-life balance to the aspect of I'm not going to answer that email right now because it's 7:30 at night and I'm going to have dinner with my kids and my wife. We're going to sit down and eat. Or I want to make sure, like, I want to spend time with my wife. I took a couple of days off to go, you know, spend just some time with the kids, stuff like that. So I really want to make sure that I am using this gift that I have worked for, or this opportunity, and I want to maximize it to the best of my ability. So I want to make sure that I don't want to be the guy who just works his ass off all the time and his kids don't know who the fuck he is, right? I don't want to be the guy who is always concerned about work and money and stuff like that, and their wife stops, you know, being interested in them because of this. I don't want to be the guy who throws his health away and then dies at 60 because he had a fucking massive heart attack because he ate. Well, I don't want to say bacon because bacon's fucking delicious. Gotta eat bacon. But like, you know, I don't want to be the guy who's I don't want to be the guy who is so successful that life's just easy and he just rides the easy train and he's drinking and he's eating and he gets fat and then he has a fucking heart attack and dies. Like, I want to be here for like, again, this is all like, we just get into it. My dad died when he died 14 years ago. So I was like 26. Thanks, 26. Mathematician. So like he died. He never got to walk my sisters down the aisle. He never got to see, like, he met a couple grandkids from my half brother and my one sister, right? But like really didn't get to see any of the rest of that stuff. And as much as like I miss him, like he died in a house with no heat, no food in his refrigerator, no money in his wallet, and like just not a great, like, it makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to make sure that I am there to walk my daughter or son or whoever I'm going to walk somebody down the fucking aisle, right?
I'm in a wedding crash.
Yeah.
I'm walking you down
I'm
the
walking
aisle.
down the fucking aisle. I want to be there for grandkids, and I hope that I can be there for great grandkids. You know, it makes me sad that my children don't really have a good memory of that my grandfather, who would have been their great grandfather. He didn't do anything wrong. He was in a motorcycle accident and fucking died.
Yeah.
At the age of like 77, 78, you know, like, had a great life, did a ton of stuff. But, I just wish that, like, I want to be there for them, and I want to be there for that, and I want to experience that. Like, I think that life is a huge gift, and I'm going to wring every fucking ounce out of this gift that I can. So
I hear a lot of stuff in the words that you're saying, and it's not saying that that's what it is, right? I'm not saying that that's necessarily the undertone.
Tell me what I was saying.
Right. But I hear it through my lens and through my ears. And one of the things that stands out to me is you just got done rattling off a list of all the things that you know, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to, like, all of this thought process going into what I don't want things to be. Mm-hmm. So it's like I can reflect back on things in my life, and I don't want to recreate that. I don't want to recreate that. I don't want this to happen. I don't want that to happen. So it's the mindset of like, well, in order for that to not happen, then I have to do all of these other things, right? And then it's like, well, what do you want to happen? What life do you want to create? What type of guy do you want to be? So it's less about the mindset of, I don't want this to happen, and more about what would it look like? Truthfully, what do you want? What version of life do you want to create? What version of yourself do you want to become? Who do you want to become? What is the guy that you want to become? And there's another part of it too, where Steph and I have talked about this before, but we recognized at a certain point where, especially when life was really chaotic, when we were in the kind of messiest part of our relationship, it was right after I had gotten fired from being a cop. It was just really chaotic. Yeah. Right. Full-time chaos time. And during that time period when things are really stressful and you're kind of just surviving, and it's not kind of like,
no, you're just,
you're just surviving,
you're eking
trying
it
to
out.
Get through.
You're white knuckling it every day.
Whether it's because of finances, it doesn't matter, right? You're just in a state of survival. And in that state, not a lot of healing takes place. It's not time to sit down and process and feel your way through emotions, you know. And I think about it from that perspective as well, as far as like in a fight, flight, freeze, or, you know, in the fight response, in the survival response, that's not when you heal. Yeah. You heal after the fact. You heal when it's not a time of activation and when things are really stressful. But if your nervous system never feels like it's calm and relaxed, if your nervous system never gets the opportunity to come down, not temporarily, but for a sustained period of time, to where it becomes normally regulated at a calm state, then I think it's really challenging to move towards any sort of like healing and internal work, simply because your nervous system is in an activated response. I'm not saying yours is, right? I'm just talking about from like my own personal experience. And there was a thing, and I don't remember exactly, there's probably lots of these things, but as a cop, there was like different zones, like you're in red, you're in yellow, you're in white, and each one kind of signifies this isn't correct, by the way. This isn't like, don't fact check any of this, but the concept is fine, right? It doesn't matter what fucking colors we use. Right? But you're in these certain mind or states of alertness. Okay. And where you're always, you know, like you don't want to be operating at a red when you can't do that. Things are really, but you never want to be at like a white where, you know, you're not really tuned in to what's going on around you. And I lived my life that way, not just when I was a police officer, but I recognized like that's how I was maintaining my life all the time, where I was always in a state of readiness and alertness, even if I was supposed to be relaxing or even if it was a calm moment. And then relaxation or recovery or rest literally looks like just complete kind of like dissociation, like it's complete relax, like I'm totally tuning out, I'm totally zoning out, do you know what I mean? Like you're working until exhaustion, you're zoning out watching something until you pass out on the couch. Like it's all of these kind of different things where your nervous system is so fried that it's, you know, turning off because it has to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this space in the middle where over the years I've been able to learn how to get my nervous system to a regulated place where it becomes the new norm, where it's not in an activated state. And that activation state isn't super intense, but it is a dial up, right? It is taking your awareness and it's just kind of always up a little bit. And not being even there, right? Just being in a calm, regulated state for like normal, like that's how I try to move through life. I've recognized how hard it is, first and foremost, right? It feels really uncomfortable and really difficult and challenging. But truthfully, it's where I feel like I have been able to not just do the most healing or realize the most, but it's where life suddenly became so much better because I didn't have all of that other stuff kind of constantly driving me, right? I guess I'm just curious, like, I've known you long enough now to kind of sense and see, like, you know, you're a guy that goes a lot.
I'm
constantly
always on,
always doing something. And what would it really truly feel like, you think, to shift things up to a place where you could just find, like, again, not that, you know, one up from actual relaxation and calm regulation, but truthful, calm, regulated, relaxed state. And then the question becomes, right, because what would it feel like is the question I'm asking you now. But can you imagine what your world would look like as far as how would you show up as a father? How would you show up as a partner? How would you show up as like all the ways that you would be able to show up in your life, vastly different, because now suddenly you were in this calm, regulated state and that became your norm.
Yeah.
What would that look like?
Well, I don't know. I have an idea what it would look like. I'm on, like, it's funny because at work we have some people, like especially somebody new who comes to the team or somebody who's like comes in or something, and they get to be in some meetings with me for a minute, and they'll like ask somebody like, is he always like this? And they're like, yeah, he's always on. And I am. From the first meeting, I mean, you've heard me in like my stand-up, like, hey, here's what we're doing, to the last call of my day. Like, that's how I'm at. And so I'm always on. I am actively trying to deregulate and like distance and like, hey, let's de-escalate and let's really try and find some calm. I think, and I don't want to like give myself excuses or anything like that. I find it really hard to relax. I think it's a combination of just like my ADHD, just whatever brain, right? Neurotypical or non-neurotypical or whatever, neurodivergent, insurgent, whatever. I don't know.
Neurodivergent, insurgent.
Yeah, whatever.
That's a great 99-cent bin DVD right there. Neurodivergent, insurgent.
Yeah. It's a fucking shitty movie. Some B-list actor. But it's, I mean, even to the point, like, it's hard. Like, it's really hard for me to go to sleep. And if I'm actively trying to sleep more, right? So I am not drinking Monsters. I'm really trying to cut back on my caffeine, and obviously no sodas or anything like that. But I get in bed at 9 o'clock at night, and I like lay there, and my brain's just running a million miles an hour. And it's really hard for me to go to sleep. And then it frustrates me because I'm not, like, I'm laying here and part of me is going like, you're just sitting here wasting fucking time. There are 20 million other fucking things that you could be doing right now. There are 24 usable hours in every day. And what the fuck are you doing, you lazy piece of shit? Right? Just laying here staring at the fucking ceiling. You know, my wife's asleep in a second. I'm like, show off. So I will then normally get up and go do things so that my brain does become tired. So then I can lay down and go to bed. But it's hard because it's, we were just on vacation and trying to really relax, and it is, and I give my wife just all the utmost credit in the world because she does such a good job, and we'll tie all this back to like perimenopause
at some point, right?
Yeah,
we're going to get back there.
Yeah, but she does such a great job of helping me try to regulate, and like she'll look at me and she can tell if I'm a little elevated. She'll be like, "Do you want like just to hang out for a minute and we'll just go down to the arcade and you can just hang out here for a minute? Do you want to go for a drive? Like, what do you want to do that can help you kind of de-escalate all this?" And if it's hard because a lot of the things, like we want to do fun things for the kids, so we go to the water park, right? Well, it's super hot, super noisy. It's all kinds of, there's people all over the place. I'm in the red already because there's just so much going on. So I'm not super relaxed in that space. And then it's like, all right, well, where are you relaxed? Like I'm relaxed right now, right? Minus all the emotional turmoil that you're bringing up in me that I don't want to fucking deal with. But
hey, real quick, if you're just somebody that listens to podcasts, thank you. But if you want to watch us week after week, jump over to our YouTube channel. Just search out bravemendare. Click that subscribe button. Don't forget the little notification bell, and come see what we're all about week after week on the podcast. We share tons of content there as well, and we even have some plans in the future to do some live episodes. So come subscribe to us on YouTube. And while you're at it, you might as well follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as well. We hope you're enjoying this episode. Let's get back to it. Imagine if you spent, because you talked earlier about the guy you didn't want to be, right? I don't want to be the guy that eats a bunch of garbage and has a heart attack at 65.
Yeah.
That guy can also have a heart attack from anxiety. That guy can also have a heart attack.
You know what, Craig? I don't need
from
you to
tension. Do you know
shit.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the shitty part, where I recognized at some point where it was like, if I keep going at this pace, like the wheels are going to come off.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even just like, I started to recognize the negative effect that it was having on me because it was just too much. And then it became like, I would ask myself, like, why am I still in that state all the time? Why do I have to constantly be on? Why do I have to operate that way? Why can't I slow down? Right. And for me, it was, well, when I slow down, yes, I have to combat that racing brain at first. But when I learned how to, whatever techniques or whatever things I would try to do, when I was able to start to quiet my brain, then everything comes up. Then when things get quiet, that's when emotion comes up. And that was the hard part, that was the thing that I was resisting my whole life. That was the thing that I was really running from, was the what seemed like an endless well of emotion that I didn't have the ability to feel and process. It was too big and it was too hard and it was too scary. And do you feel the same in a sense? Do you feel like you get to that spot where things quiet just enough that those other things start bubbling up, and then it's like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to distract.
Sometimes,
I got to do something.
Yeah, definitely sometimes.
When you say sometimes, and again, I'm not trying to like be a dick or anything, but isn't that the thing that you might be running from in a sense? Like not even necessarily sometimes. I know that there's always other things, and then, there's like given day, we've got shit that was going on that we're thinking about and processing. But if there was a baseline of like emotion that needs to be felt, don't you feel like it's just right there? Like as soon as the volume gets turned down, it's the thing that is like, it's like your shadow, like it follows you around, right? You turn around and you're like, oh shit, there you are. And you're like, hi, I'm still here. I need to be processed and felt. Do you feel like that, or is that not the case?
It's definitely the less I give myself to think about, the more opportunity there is for other things to come up. And I don't want to deal with those things. So
enter in the midlife crisis.
I mean, I will, like, again, Jamie does a great job noticing when I kind of start to get out of whack a little bit. And she will, like, hobbies. If I can throw that extra energy at a hobby, that can really bring my whole life down a little bit.
I'm going to push you a little bit.
Oh, I don't want to.
Because this is, when I say this is shit that I think about, like I'm only pushing you because truthfully, because I love you and care about you, right? And it's good content.
Fuck you.
But I think about, because you just, like, Jamie does a good job of, you know, kind of recognizing when you need a little nudge in one direction or the other because you're getting a little off and right.
Yep.
I think about that, the weight that, you know, Stephanie, in my case, Stephanie has to carry because she's mitigating for my experience.
Yep.
So she's carrying a certain level of my anxiety and stress every day because she's waiting in preparation for me and what might happen.
Yeah.
So she's having to alter her nervous system and her ability and her opportunity for her nervous system to calm down and be in a calm, regulated state because she's waiting for me to pop off or waiting for my anxiety to get too high. So now suddenly how I'm moving through the world is influencing and shaping and cutting into her opportunity to be calmed and relaxed and operating at a different level. Yeah. So definitely there's this part of like relationship where we get to carry things together, right? We're going through this journey together where we very much are supporting each other and holding space and doing all of these kind of different things. And, you know, when one person needs help, by all means, I'm going to fucking come over and help you lift some stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, if it's just a Tuesday, I want her to not have that switch turned on.
Yeah.
Because she's not moderating, because she's monitoring my nervous system. Yeah. Right. And is willing to alter and change what she's doing because of where I'm at. Do you ever think about that part?
I do.
And then what's the thought process? Like, how do you deal with that?
I tell my wife I love her a lot, and I shower her with as many gifts as I can, and I buy her a fucking horse. Yeah. I'm like, my life sucks. Thank you for being here to make sure that I don't, fucking die. Let me buy a horse.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and I agree. I mean, it's a lot for her to help with all that, and I am very thankful for all that, and I am not to the point yet where I can do that on my own. I need help. Her call out, her acknowledgement of like, why don't you just go downstairs for a little while? Why don't you go do something for a little bit to help me kind of like, I'm just not at a point where I can do that on my own. And so, yeah, I rely a lot on her for that. And I recognize that. I understand, like, I use her for a lot of that. And it's definitely better that she's there, because the scariest thing in my world is like, what if something happens to her? For one, I'm just going to be a fucking wreck, right? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Right.
I can't even describe what that would be like, because the idea of it is instantaneously into this downward spiral. But so I recognize how much I rely on her for her support and guidance and trust and partnership and everything like that. And I hope that I can get to a point one day where that's not necessarily a requirement, and I can more self-regulate on some of that stuff. I know that we do it for each other. She has her own things, not nearly as much as mine. I think she's a much more well-balanced human being. But I think that it's a constant work on these things, I mean, to be honest, like, hanging out with you for the last year and talking about stuff and whatnot, like, I've done more introspective, like, kind of thinking and working and stuff like that than I have probably in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. These are this conversation is not, I'm not super excited about all this right now.
Right. But it's this weird thing where I think about, because you're doing 75 hard right now. What if 75 hard was, instead of this massive push for physicality and working out and fitness and health, what if it was emotional? What if there was a 75 hard for emotional? What if Jamie came to you and said, hey, the thing that I really want you to focus on is, I don't give a shit how you look physically. I don't, I mean, you're in perfect health for the life that we need to be living right now, but you really need to work on the emotions. You really need to work on your emotional health and your ability to communicate, express, feel, and process your emotions. So there's a 75 hard for emotionality. There's a 75 hard for things to focus in that arena. That to me feels like if you want to do 75 hard, that's fucking 75 hard.
Yeah, that's,
like, how to do fucking...
Yeah, I can do the physical stuff.
You can do your kilometer walk. You can do all of that.
I can do the miserable stuff, the physical
Super
stuff.
easy. That's a fucking Tuesday for you.
Yeah.
But if you want to get like real serious and do something really difficult, can you do that same version of something, right? That's the equivalent of actually connecting into those emotions. Maybe that's what we do after you're done with your physical 75 hard, is we do an emotional 75 hard. I could come up with whatever the fuck that looks like and create some sort of like, here we go, fucking 75 hard emotions.
I can tell you that I am about to sweat right now just thinking about that. I'm like, oh God, the anxiety is percolating.
Like, do we need more men that are fit and able to climb mountains and run fast? Or do we need more men that are able to feel their emotions and process their emotions and regulate their nervous systems?
I think it just depends on what kind of time it is.
Right? What kind of time it is.
Yeah,
right?
what kind of time it is, right? Right? What's that saying? Good times create...
Weak men.
Yeah. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create stronger hard men.
Something like that. There was something about a tree in there too. Like if you don't plant trees, then the future generations don't get shade. I don't know.
Yeah. The best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. I like how let's go away from all this stuff. Let's get away from the emotions. Let's get all the way the stuff that you were talking about. That's the stuff
that it's so fucking hard. It's so much stuff. And it was like, what it was for me, the big catalyst for me that came was I went on this men's retreat thing.
Yep.
It was a week-long backpacking trip into Yellowstone. And like day 2 of that, because the beginning part of it is, you're staying at this really nice lodge in Montana and you've got catered meals and, we haven't gone out on the trail yet. Mm-hmm. And the second night is sitting in circle and getting real clear on like, basically setting the intention for what the experience was going to be like, which consisted of emotional work, of being able to process and connect and go into different things. And I had this massive explosion of emotion because I had so much that I had been holding back and, penting up and everything like that. And it was just this really big explosion of emotion and anger and fear and sadness and everything like that. And that was the thing that, it was a real turning point for me, because it wasn't just all the stuff that I had stuffed down from being a cop. It wasn't just all the guilt and shame, that I was experiencing. It was the culmination of not addressing all of those things that I didn't want to address and look at in my life and truthfully face about myself.
Yeah.
That came to a head. And it was very clear to me. It was like, I don't want to move forward in life like this any longer.
Yeah.
It was getting really, really, dark. It was getting heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became like, I went too deep into it. I definitely I mean, this from fucking hanging out and the podcast and everything. It's like, I will always go towards, hey, let's talk about our emotions.
Let's talk about like
that's really funny and cool. But have you thought about the emotions part of it? Like, let's go there and feel that, because that was the thing that gave me my life back. Mm-hmm. That was the thing that saved me.
So that kind of becomes like the answer for
everything.
Well, let's talk about how that makes you feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That became how I brought everything, that's how I saved my life in a sense. That's how everything kind of, I got to where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because I was able to feel and process and talk about my emotions.
Should I lay back more? You can, right? Get me a couch and you can get a clipboard.
Yes.
Interesting.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah. How does that make you feel? Let's talk about that more.
But it's really just the stuff that guys don't ever really feel comfortable talking about.
And I think that this is, so as much as I am fuck you for bringing all this stuff up. I agree. This is the stuff that we don't talk about anymore, right? This is the stuff that even a lot of like very close guys don't talk about, right? And I think that there is this space where we have to get like, yeah, I can physically climb the fucking mountain and do the things. I can provide, protect, be present and all that. But okay, if I want to provide, I have to work and make sure these things are happening. If I want to protect, I got to be physical and all this stuff. And but if present, how can I be present if I'm not there?
Right.
If I'm physically here, but if I'm not here, how can I be present? If I spend 3 hours with my kids out doing something, but I'm never thinking about the time I'm spending with them and being present in that moment, and how can I be present with them? So I agree that this is all very important stuff, and I think we should find someone else to talk about all this. And I don't want to. No, it's such a big fucking just shit show of stuff because there's so, and to be honest,
it feels like that.
It is, yeah.
And it's from my experience, the reason it feels like that is because metaphors. I'm a big fan of metaphors. And I think the reason why it feels like a big shit show of stuff that I don't even know where to begin to like unpack it all is because it is in the darkness, because it is something that you're not looking at. If you go into that room and turn the light on, suddenly it's like, okay, yeah, there's some shit in here, but I can start organizing it. I can start, what's in this box? Open up this box, go through this box. Turns out that wasn't too bad. I can toss that box or get rid of that shit. Or you get the opportunity to start processing it.
Yeah.
Which is why it feels like it's too big, because it's the unknown. And it's also emotion that we don't practice. Mm-hmm. Like at the end of the day, I heard it recently too, where, emotions can take anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds to kind of be fully felt and processed through the body. And the amount of time that we spend resisting that is the problem, right? We will spend lifetimes resisting that 90-second experience of feeling a difficult, hard emotion.
Yeah.
And I tend to try to, because it's not always this way, I think emotion is something that it's not just a feeling. It's not just a biological, neurological thing. I think that there's significance to emotion and to feeling and to, like, I think it's how our physical bodies process a different energy that exists in the world. I think emotion is like a sub-wavelength, and this is how the body picks up on those wavelengths is through emotion. That's not important. What I think is important is that is a skill set that is like anything else. It just is something that needs to be practiced. And the more we practice emotion and feeling emotion and processing emotion, and not just communicating emotion, but the actual somatic experience of what it feels like to have an emotion be moved through my body and to connect to it. It is literally like anything else. It gets easier. Mm-hmm. And so Steph and I were talking about this the other day, where we're going through a part of life right now that is really fucking hard. And we have like really big emotions that we're having to navigate. Her dad passed away last month. Mm-hmm. It's brought up everything, right, to the surface. And our ability to feel, communicate, express, just move through this time period in our life that's highly emotional, like really volatile, like it's, things are intense. And we're doing it in such a way where, we haven't spun out, we're not arguing, like all the things that life used to look like when we would bury and stuff emotion, all the coping mechanisms, all the ways that we would kind of mitigate and go through that experience. We're not really doing that anymore, right? We're able to feel those emotions. We're able to communicate those emotions. And in the beginning, I would have never thought that. Yeah. In the beginning, it would be like, they're too much. It's too big. I don't know what's going to happen. All of that, right? But it's putting in the reps of actually feeling and processing and going through that experience, and just being able to recognize, like, this is what happens to my body when this happens. This is, it's truthfully that resistance to emotion that I think is the problem.
Yeah.
Because it is really just such a short period of time that the emotion is felt. And then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cool, you got through it. And then it's like,
it's hard because I think there's different. I 100% understand what you're saying, and I can see that, right? So like, I don't want to compare here. My dog Stu, right? Yeah. He passed away, and I only had Stu for like 4 years, right? But he became like, he moved from California to Tennessee with me. Like, we spent a lot of time together. I liked him a lot as a dog. I enjoyed his company, right? He didn't even hang out with me that much. He spent more time with my wife, but I really liked him, and it was my dog.
He was a good dog.
He was a good dog. When we had to put him down because he was just so old and just so much arthritis that he was just in pain, that I was able to, in that moment, like, from like, we're going here to like, we're gonna go do this, to like, all right, like, I was able to, I feel like, process all that. I cried. I like laughed. I cried some more. I cried more. I killed an entire box of Kleenex. My nose was running at the same time. It was terrible, right? Like, I was a snot covered, teary, gooey bastard, right? Yeah. Like, I was just all over on the floor, just like miserable. And I was able to, because I wasn't suppressing that. I was going through it, and I was trying to, like, I want to feel this, and I want to be here for all this emotion and these feelings and sadness and happiness and all this stuff. And I really lived in it for like, it felt like fucking forever, but it's probably only like an hour, maybe 2. But then I was like, okay, cool. And I definitely like felt better. Right. Yeah. Like, it sucked. It was terrible to do all that. It was terrible to sit there, and like, I am still very sad. Right. But I don't feel the same way. When I think about Stu now, my first thought isn't how much I miss him, or like, I just think about what a great dog he was. And like, I think of the funny things that we would do, and, the stupid things he did that just pissed me off. Right. And like, all that stuff. Right. I think about all that stuff, and I'm just cool. I don't not think about him because I'm trying to avoid and suppress my emotions.
Yeah, you're not avoiding that topic.
Yeah, that topic, because he's not here, and I don't want to deal with the sadness of that. So I think that's better. And I do believe that I want to get to a point where, and I don't know what is my capacity for all of this, but I know that there's a lot of things from my time, from my past, that I still need a lot of work and processing and stuff like that. And my hope is to maybe take some small bites out of it here and there. And maybe, when I'm like 90, I can be like, man, this is great.
Do you want to carry it that long, though?
No, I don't want to carry it, but I don't know if I have the ability to unpack it that much, that fast.
So think about it this way, where I agree. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I don't think the idea that you have to unpack it all that fast, like, it's not, I mean, think of it this way. If I was going to ask you, like, hey, do you think you could do whatever you needed to over the next 3 months because we're going to go do this really difficult, challenging physical thing, right? Maybe we were going to do like some Tough Mudder or some...
We're going to climb Everest.
Right. I guess, yeah, fucking climb Everest, right? We're not climbing Everest. But something challenging and difficult and hard that's going to take you a little bit of time to prep for, right? Like Everest. You'd be like, yeah, I'll be fucking ready to go. Give me 3 months, I'll be fucking ready to go. That same thing inside of you that says, oh, I can do that. I can do the hard work for whatever is needed in order to get my body physically ready, mentally ready to go do this really challenging thing that's going to push me outside of my comfort zone, that's going to make me push myself to the edge of what I'm capable of doing, I'm down for that. How is this not the same? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why is this not the part in your brain that's like, oh, you're talking about exploring the depths of my subconscious and my psyche and the emotions that I've had buried there since I was a child. And if I do that, there's a chance, right? There's no guarantee, obviously, right? There's no guarantee that we're making it to Everest. We can do all the prep work, but there's no guarantee we're getting to the top. But there's a chance that in doing so, it might create the life for me that, not only can I not imagine, but like could be 10 times better than I could have even possibly imagined, then why not?
So
why would you not do
there's
that?
a chance.
That's what I'm saying. There's a chance.
I'm not saying that I'm going to carry all this around for 50 fucking years.
Yeah.
I'm doing more than I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I will continue to work on that. And maybe it's only like a couple years, right? Yeah. Maybe I have a little breakdown and it's only like 2 months and we're just, maybe go away for a while. Come back and everything's better. Look at the pretty birds. I think it's just, I've got to figure out what the pace of that is and how much I can handle that. And that's that's a muscle that I don't flex a lot, and it's like being I don't know, I see like your analogy of like, you go in this room, you just turn the light on, like, yeah. For me, I feel like it's like going into a hoarder's like room, and it's just magazines and stuff stacked to the walls and boxes and all that. And it's like, as much as I believe that I could bit by bit pull this box out, I'm just going to open the door, grab that box, come over here. We're just going to unpack all this and see what's going on. Oh, that's not that bad. There's the fear that if I walk into the room to get the box, that the room will collapse on me.
Right.
And
get stuck in there.
And I'll just be stuck in there. And that's also a fear, right? Is I fear that if I try to take too much of it on, if I push it too fast, or if I try to accelerate or go at this a little harder, more head on and all that, that is too much.
It's going to take you out.
It just takes, it's just, and then
like it's I have the same fear. I can totally relate to it. And for me, it wasn't just like, oh, this might, now the rest of the day is ruined because I have to stay in bed or something. Like, no, I'm going to go crazy. Yeah. Like this will be the thing that breaks me. Yep. And now I'm not able to be the husband, be the partner, but like this is going to break me. This might kill me. Yep. I might actually take my life if I go into these things. Yeah. And that part I think is a legitimate like fear. And I also think that it is very much the same fear that I had as a child when I was afraid of the dark, when I'm afraid of the thing that I can't see, when I'm afraid of doing something that I've never done before. Like it's that same visceral fear of like, I might die if I do this thing. And it's just emotion. Yeah. Like even the things that we build around it, the stories that we've told, the fear that we have associated with it, all of these things that we're trying to not feel and not look at, right? And the more, like I can almost feel them building up in your body too. They're building up right now. The more that we talk about this space, it's like that closet, that room that's got all the boxes, it's the like, hoarder. Suddenly the door is starting to vibrate a little bit. We can hear some noises and some creaks, and it's like, that's why we don't go over there. Yeah. Because that's just fucking scary. Just danger over there. Just leave that part of the house alone.
So I will share this, and this is hard for me. The fear that I have is, I apologize. And I've shared this with my wife, but like for all my friends that I've lost to suicide, the hardest part is I understand why. Makes sense. I get it. The room was too much. So I get that. And I'm fearful that that'll be me. So I would rather just be the I'm not here 100% asshole than the I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, because it's a lot. And so if it takes me 40 years to pull that one box out and go through it, and then maybe we get to the point where you're like, you know what, that whole corner, we're just good with that corner over there, just being there.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to build some new stuff in this space, but we'll wall that corner off and whatever, and maybe put a little peephole in there occasionally or something. But if that's the process, I would rather do that than the flip side of that is it's too much. And yeah, it's when it comes to like the veteran suicide rates and all that stuff, like it's the hardest part is like, you're like, yeah, that sucks. Like they were in a hard spot. I wish I would have known. I wish we could have talked. I wish I could have been there for them. That doesn't change what it is that they're going through.
Yeah.
You know? And I think about, I'm not saying, and like, even for me, like there are tons of guys who have gone through way worse stuff than me, right? Like, but I don't, the risk isn't worth it for me. It's not, because I feel like there's a chance that could be me, that if I really started to unpack all that it could just be too overwhelming. And then I just get I get so deep in a hole that there's no coming back from it. Mm-hmm. And I have, like, when I got out of the Marines, like I definitely went through depression, and I tried a lot of different things. Like I was on a bunch of different medications for a while and seeing somebody, a couple times a week and trying to like, hey, let's go through all this stuff. And it was just so much.
Too much, yeah.
I mean, like Jamie used to call me and we'd be like, get out of bed. Because it'd be 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And she'd be like, get out of bed. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, why? Like what's the point? Mm-hmm. And I think I was fortunate, like she got pregnant and it was like, all right, I have something to like work towards, and like this starts to give me purpose and stuff like that. And I was like, well, you know what? I would rather just work on these things than this stuff. And so, yeah, I could be better. And I might start processing things and get through things and be like, okay, like I think, let's take 2 boxes out, right? Let's do that. And maybe I get to a point where I've cleared out enough in the room that I can go into the room and stand back enough and be like, okay, let's go back out here for a while and then we'll go look at it again, right? Like it's, yeah, I'm sure that will all happen. It will just take a lot of time. But I think that I'm on that path.
I think you're on the path too, dude. Yeah. I really do.
Fuck you. You know what? I am super happy about all this. I love you, but I am so unhappy about this right now.
Think about it this way, where this is my favorite metaphor for emotions. Yeah. And truthfully, it's like my metaphor for life, right? I think about feeling emotions, and I think about it as surfing. It's wave riding. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, we don't take kids and throw them into the ocean on a surfboard and tell them to go
figure it out,
ride big waves, right?
Yeah.
We barely set them down and let them play in the sand and let the water slowly lap at their feet. And then as you grow and you get older and more braver and stronger, eventually you get to the point where you want to play in the ocean and splash around and body surf and boogie board and do all these different things. And mm-hmm. eventually you get to the point where you can ride some big waves. Yeah. And then you're out there riding big waves. And then if you continue down the path of, being in the water and being comfortable and being connected and feeling and riding waves and moving through emotion, eventually you can ride really big waves, right? And it's not even like waiting for them to come. You go find them. Yeah. Those guys that ride big waves, they go out and hunt those big waves down in order to tackle those things and to feel those things. And I think about that from that same perspective when it comes to like this conversation around emotion, where they're just waves that we navigate and feel our ways through, right? They always have they crest and then they come down and fall. Like it's just this, they have a pattern and a rhythm. And emotion is the same way, where it always feels really intense and scary. And then there's this part where it breaks and comes down, and then it's like, oh, it levels off. And then another one comes, and so on and so forth. But it's, like I said earlier, it's literally like everything else, where the more you practice it, the easier they get.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, if you stand at the front of, if you look out at a big wave and you're like, well, you need to go ride that wave. There's no way. I'm not going to, I'll die if I go out there and ride that fucking wave. What are you talking about, right? That's just not a possibility. I don't have what it takes to go ride that wave.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, you don't start there.
Yeah.
Truthfully, you just got to get your feet in the water.
Yeah.
And there's times where it's like, I want nothing to do with the fucking waves, right? Yeah. I just come and sit out on the beach. Like, I'm done fucking navigating fucking
waves
emotions right now.
Yeah.
I don't
fucking
want
waves.
anything to do with it. And then there's other times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my fucking wetsuit on, like fire up the fucking jet ski, babe, because we're going to go ride some big fucking waves.
Yeah.
And I want to go find a big one. And I want to find the biggest one. And I want to fucking ride that monster. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's the thing that has changed everything for me.
Yeah.
It's the thing that has opened up all aspects of life. And so I think about that when it comes to not just you, but men in general, where, men will do so many things for their family, for their jobs, for their life. Like, you're going through 75 hard right now. That's a lot of, like, that's a commitment to a thing, right? And men have zero problems doing hard work and committing to hard work and showing up for the ones that they love, until you bring up emotions, until you bring up, hey, why don't you slow down and actually connect to some of the stuff that you don't want to connect to? And it's like, well, why would I ever do that? Well, the reason you do that is so that you can live a full fucking life, so that you can be this beautiful fucking person that is, do you know what I mean? In the beginning, for me, what was like the real big catalyst for me was I would always flip it around. Every time I would come across something that it's like, well, I don't want to do this thing. Then it became, if I do this thing, then I model that for my son. I model that for my children. And the only way that my children are going to be able to do something is if they see it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it became, I don't want to move through life with repressed emotion and buried things that bubble up in weird ways and affect how I show up in life, right? You talked about being connected and present when you're spending, like, I want to be present when I'm with my family, when I'm with my kids. I don't want to be checked out mentally. I don't want to be distracted.
Over there or something.
Yeah, I want to be present. And I don't just want to be present. I want to be as present as I can be with the people that I love on every level possible. Meaning not just physically, I'm here and we're talking but I want to be there emotionally. I want to be there connected to them. And I also want them to move through life that way. I want my children to not be 43 years old and have the baggage full of shit that they've had their whole lives weighing them down and being afraid. I want them to be free of that so that they can live a full experience of what life looks like without that type of stuff. And again, the only way that they will do that is if somebody goes first. Yeah. And it might as well be their fucking dad.
Might as well.
Right?
Right.
If there's somebody, like, think about it this way, right? If there's somebody that's going to go first into the fucking dark, scary place.
Yeah. It's going to be dad.
You're fucking signing up for that job.
Yeah. 100%.
You're like, oh, we got to go over there.
Yeah.
And it might
get
kill
behind
us.
me. Yeah.
Fucking, I got you covered.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And this is just one more thing. It's the undiscovered country. It's the thing that all men avoid.
We're explorers.
And it's the internal exploration. It's being able to go in and unpack all of those things. Because I can tell you that hoarder room that you're afraid of really isn't a hoarder space. It's really not. It feels like that, but there's like a handful of things in there. But they've just taken on so much, scariness in order to keep you away. Yeah. But the truth is, it's just emotions.
I don't like scary
it's just
things.
feelings. You can do it.
First of all, I don't like the ocean, so your metaphor fucking sucks. There are sharks. Yeah,
Terrible
there
metaphor.
are sharks in the ocean, and sharks fucking eat people. So, not interested in that at all. No, I get that, and
I've got something for you for your 75 hard.
Okay,
because you've got a list of like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this every day, right? There's room for one more. There's always room for one more. You can always carry one more thing. Okay, so every single day now, and it doesn't matter when you do it. You can do it at any given point. But I want you to take 2.5 minutes. Okay, 2.5 minutes. And during that time, set a fucking timer on your phone, watch, whatever, right? You're just going to do nothing else, right? So you're not doing anything else other than sitting down. And the goal, like, it's not, oh, I'm going to feel stuff or I'm going to go into that room. That's not at all what it is. It's the precursor to what is needed for that type of work. And it's like, if I'm going to teach you how to lift really heavy emotions, this is what you would start off with. And it's, you have to start learning about your physical body. And I'm not talking about muscles. I'm not talking about injury. Like, yes, you're connected to your body, right? I can like ask you right now and you could kind of do a body scan and check in with your body and communicate what your body is feeling physically.
I have to poop.
Right?
Yeah.
But the 2.5 minutes for this little challenge that you're going to start doing, you're going to start doing it, by the way. Like, there's not an option. I'm texting Jamie when we get done and she's going to...
What if I don't do 75 hard?
Then you're a fucking failure.
Yeah.
And
dang it.
Yeah, and then you got to come on the podcast and talk about why you didn't do 75 hard.
Oh, God, happened. Right? Oh, shit.
There's accountability
There's
now, right?
accountability at a whole new level that I haven't even thought about. Like before, if I didn't finish it, I was like, that
no big
sucks.
deal. Nobody knows but you and the wife.
Cookie, big
right?
deal. Yeah, my wife was just like, you tried. That was a good job. No.
But during that 2.5 minutes,
okay,
I want you to slow down, and you're not going to go look for what is your body is feeling. You're going to sit and just ask the question, what am I feeling? Okay?
Okay.
And then for that 2.5 minutes, you're going to listen to what your body tells you. Does that make sense? Or
It does.
Is that kind of too...
No, totally. And so I did... There's numerous phases of 75 hard. And phase 1 has 10 minutes of like meditation.
Okay.
Right. And because I'm not good at some of that, just sitting there in that space, I did some guided meditation. And some of it was very similar to like, hey, like, what are you feeling? What is your body telling you? So I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do 2.5 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting
And then
now.
when your brain wanders, right? Because every time you are like, okay, you need to sit here and do this thing for 30 seconds. You're like, cool, I can do that for 30 seconds. And then you're like 7 seconds in and your brain's like, what's over there? What's going on here? Right?
Oh, look at the bird.
The reminder is, don't fight that urge.
Yeah.
When your brain wanders, just as soon as you have awareness that your brain has wandered, then you ask yourself, what am I feeling?
Gotcha.
So what am I feeling is what brings you back.
Okay.
And then just listen and see what comes up in your body. And you don't have to fucking like do anything else. You don't have, I mean, if you want, you can write about it. You can text me what came up. Like, you can talk to Jamie. You can do all of those things. Or you can just commit yourself that I'm going to do this in conjunction with everything else that I'm doing, and commit myself to that practice of sitting down and checking in with what my body is feeling.
Okay. I can do that. Like, hey, Craig, I did my 2.5 minute check in. My big toe hurts. Go fuck yourself.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And what happens over time when you start to stretch this muscle of connecting with your body, because your body is this big, beautiful antenna. I think about our physical bodies as like this great spaceship that we're traveling through fucking time and space with, right?
Okay.
Like, we literally get this fucking thing,
this vessel
that takes care of itself.
It's true.
Right? As long as you dump a little bit of fluid and some food and nutrients into it, I mean, it's fucking running.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like the crew that is manning the SSR Craig right now.
The
like,
SSR,
whatever it is, right? NC-7, not NC-17. That's porn, but what's the Star Trek? The NCC-17. There's, I'm a big Star Trek nerd, but the USS Enterprise.
Yeah, USS Enterprise.
Right. Whoever's running Craig right now, it's a great crew.
Yeah.
Like, I love the crew that is manning Craig right now. They're doing such a great job, right? They work around the clock.
Yeah.
They never complain. Even when I'm like shoveling in fucking sugar and alcohol and drug. Like no matter what I feed this thing, they figure it out.
Yeah,
and they
they're
keep
like,
this
all right,
fucking
well,
spaceship
we
flying.
haven't ran on that before, but let's figure out how to convert that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tip top. Really, really good. And a part of what this spaceship does is it's got all these antennas to feel the world around it and to sense different vibrations and to basically take in information from the external and interpret it. And emotions are exactly that, where there's stimuli that are taking place to my body, to my mind, to my, all these different things. And I just have to learn how to process, feel, and interpret all of those different things. And so it's just a practice. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And then you'll go from, oh, my right toe hurts, my big toe hurts, to, oh, I ask myself, what am I feeling? Suddenly there's going to have an emotion.
A feeling.
Yeah. As soon as you open up the door, even just us talking about this mysterious room that you've got hidden somewhere, you're already on a path to meet it now. Like the universe goes, cool, you're now in alignment to go meet this thing. Like the healing has commenced. Does that make sense? Like as soon as you step foot on the path, you're already going to get there.
I'm trying to turn around.
It's just a matter of time. You can't. You're already on the way.
Just run away.
Yeah. It's going to be okay. You're going to be able to do it.
It'll be fine. Or it won't. Yeah. So 50-50.
Right. It's not 50-50. It's 100% you're going to be okay.
A lot of people don't like my 50-50, and stuff. I'm like, yeah.
Do we make it through this? 50-50.
50-50, man. I don't know. Well, am I going to make it home? 50-50.
You don't know.
Yeah, either I will or I won't.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, the outcomes are 50-50.
You'll be all right.
Probabilities are different.
You'll be all right.
It'll be fine. It'll probably be good.
Yeah. It will be good.
I'm glad.
It will be good. It gives you a greater... it's literally locked up in all of that emotion, locked up in all of those things that we're not feeling, are parts and pieces of who we are.
Yeah.
They're really like if I was going to flesh out the totality of what a human is, it's such this beautiful, nuanced creature, right? We're made up of so many different things. And when we stuff down emotion, we're stuffing down those parts of ourselves. And so there's parts of Ben that have been buried for a really long time. And those parts might be the parts that, really connect with your kids. There's just all sorts of unknown things in there. But until you start unpacking them and feeling your way through them, you'll never find them. And they might be the thing that, unlock it all. It might be the thing that is totally needed for the long life that you're hoping to live, full of joy and happiness, and the fear of never going back to that time period from your childhood when things are really difficult, all of that stuff. The key to unlocking that, meaning now we will never go back there because we've unlocked this part of ourselves. You just don't know. It's the unknown, and it's not bad. Again, I can't stress that enough. Every emotion, everything that I've ever done, all the work that I've done over the years, like I've done a lot of work with men. Like I used to do a men's group for like 4+ years. Like it's never as scary as we think it is. It's always something that we're able to get through and feel our way through. And we do need help.
We do.
That's the big caveat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole idea is we don't need to go alone anymore, anywhere.
To boldly go.
Yeah.
Where no man has gone before.
No, it's that old adage of like, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together.
True.
And I'm not looking to go fast anymore.
No?
No.
Pull your calf muscle again.
Really, definitely pull my calf muscle again. That's what happens when we go fast.
Right? You're
we
going
tear
too fast. Tear your calf muscle. Pickleball.
Okay, dude. I thought I had something else in the back of my mind I wanted to make sure.
That we talked about?
Yeah, but I think it's probably stuff for like off camera.
Yeah, okay.
Is this
Is that a toenail?
I don't know what that is. It could be a toenail. A dog nail.
The Real Monsters. Do you remember the Real Monsters?
No.
No, it was a cartoon. And their currency was toenails.
Real Monsters?
Real Monsters. It was like on Nickelodeon.
Okay.
You have to look it up.
Okay. Maybe.
There's a guy holding eyeballs. So weird. The cartoons that we used to have as children, that's really what a lot of my
trauma
trauma is Ren and Stimpy, right? Watching Powdered Toast Man grab my buttocks of steel, right? Stare into my nipples of the future.
Beavis and Butthead. Go subscribe to Brave Mendare wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, and be sure to click that notification button, as well as actually, this is the things that you can do that help the podcast. You can subscribe wherever you're listening.
Yep.
You can rate the show. So whatever platform, like iTunes, Apple Podcasts is different, Spotify is different. Just give it 5 stars, right?
5.
And then share it with somebody.
Yeah.
Send an episode to a friend and tell somebody about the podcast. And all of that helps the podcast grow and expand and reach more people.
That's right.
So that more men can be brave
And dare
to feel their emotions.
and get into that gross room.
Yes.
Later, bud. Oh, that was terrible.
Let's do another. Okay.
God, that was
There we
way
go.
better. So much happier with that one.